Magic round is now over. It's time to get into round 10 of the NRL, but before I do, let's show you the Aboriginal jersey for the Eels for 2019. So the Indigenous round is just a couple weeks around the corner. This is the Indigenous jersey for this year. I like it a lot compared to my mate RXYSV2 who has last year's. I wasn't a big fan of it. I love the more blue rather than the yellow. The only issue, I feel like the red on the back, it does look like hands on your bum, I guess you could say. But it's a nice fit, and I'm very keen to rock this at the Indigenous game. I think it's against Penrith, but I'll have to check that. Alright, let's kick off with the Storm and the West Tigers at Amy Park. Melbourne at home, Thursday night footy. I'm expecting Melbourne to win this one. A lot of people, after last week's 64-10 win for Melbourne over the Parramatta Eels, I think the Tigers were very classy against Penrith, and they've got a good chance of winning this, especially with players like Curtis Scott out. As for the ins and out, as I said, Curtis Scott, Jerome Hughes is also out with a concussion, which moves young Pappenhausen back to fullback. Joe Stimson is out. Josh Aloiai is out for the Tigers. There's no ins for the Tigers. I'm going to go Storm by 8. I don't think it'll be an absolute thrashing. Storm are at home. They should get over the line here. Going to go Storm by 8. Next up sees the Penrith Panthers up against the Warriors. Week in, week out, I tip them. I regret it afterwards, but I'm going to tip Penrith here. I like what I saw, and based on form, I would say the Warriors will win this game. I just think Penrith at home, coming up to Origin, if they don't win this game, their season's over in my opinion. But as for the ins and outs for this side, Chanel Harris-Tavita is out, as well as Adam Blair for the Warriors, and Dylan Edwards is out for Penrith. I expect Panthers to win this by 4. I was leaning towards Penrith winning this massive by 14-16. I think the Warriors are too good of a side with players like Tuivasa-Sheck and Nikorima. He is a player to look out for this week. He was so good against the Dragons, leading him to a victory. And I think Penrith will get the job done here. I think Cleary will step up. His kicking game will be a lot better than last week. And they've also dropped Josh Mansour, who I got a photo with the other day. It was nice to meet him. So we'll have to see what happens, but I'm going to go the Panthers by 4. The next game on Friday night sees the Brisbane Broncos up at Suncorp once again against the Sydney Roosters. The Broncos' record up in Suncorp against the Roosters is really good, but the Roosters are just too good at the moment. I don't think it'll be an absolute blowout though, like last time. I think it was 38-6 or 38-4. Might have been 38-4 actually. That's how shocking it was. I think the Roosters will come away with a win here by 12 points. I think they've got a few players out. Daniel Tupou has been named, but I really don't know if he will play or should play. Boyd Cordner is out for the match. Well, it does say in, but I read he was out, but we'll leave that. Brock Lamb is out. Jermaine Asako returns in for the Brisbane Broncos. And I think this is round the wrong way. Let's have a look. Maybe he's out. No, he's in. Yeah, it's round the wrong way. And Jack Bird is out. That is round the wrong way on the NRL app. That is unfortunate. I'm going to go the Roosters by 12 for this one. I think one of these teams will have a massive win this week, but I'm going to go for a middle here, and I'm going to go the Titans by 10. They have a good record against the Dogs, and they're really struggling this year. I think Kieran Foran will have a really good game again. It was brilliant last week against the Knights, even though they just couldn't get the win here, as well as Nick Meaney at fullback. He's a player that week in, week out, he does his absolute best. The Titans are struggling, but they were able to lead. And I think this is a game that they will win at home, and they should win at home. I'm going to go Titans by 10. But as I said, I'm expecting one of these sides to win 13+. It's just a matter of tipping them. I'm not going to say the Titans by 20 because they could win by 2. But let's go the Titans by 10. The next game on Saturday, which I'm looking forward to at 5:30, is North Queensland Cowboys up against my Parramatta Eel. The Eels went from 5th place to 8th place. Lucky to be in the 8 after a 64-10 thrashing from Melbourne Storm. I was leaning towards the Eels this week, and I'm going to tip them. I'm going to tip them by 6. There's so many changes that worry me. You got Mike O'Sevo serving that 1 match ban. George Jennings comes in. You've got Josh Hoffman in the centres. Brad Takarangi, week in, week out, he's picked. I think there's weeks where he should pay, weeks he shouldn't. Will Smith has been named for Jamin Salmon, who's been dropped. I mean, he wasn't making a lot of his tackles last week. Moses in the side. Reid Marnie's back in the starting side. So I think we should win this. As for the outs, obviously, Sevo, and I did read Jennings, is out. Jake Clifford could be in for the Cowboys, though. He's named on the extended bench. I'm going to go the Eels by 6 to win this one, 22-16. I think it'll be a good game of football up in Townsville. Our record's not good there, but I think there'll be 2 games where their records of the tables are turned this week, and I'm going to go the Eels by 6. Next up sees the Raiders up against the Rabbitohs. Now, going into this one, I had a slight lean towards the Canberra Raiders, but I just think the Rabbitohs are too good in form at the moment. Corey Allen drops into fullback for the Rabbitohs as, what's his name, is out, Alex Johnston. There's a few ins and outs on each side. It's saying Aiden Caesar's in. Jordan Rapana's out for at least a month, I read. And obviously Joey Leilua being out for that extended period of time. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs in this match. I think it was 8. Yep, I'm going to go the Rabbitohs by 8. There's too much class in them at the moment. They were too good against the Cowboys, but the Raiders were able to come back against the Roosters. The Roosters are just such a quality side. And they are at home, so I wouldn't be surprised if they cause an upset here, but I think I'm going to go the Rabbitohs. It's the safest bet. Rabbitohs by 8. Alright, the next game at Glen Willow Oval at Mudgee sees the St. George Illawarra Dragons up against the Knights. I'm looking forward to Ponga up against Dufty. It's going to be a cracker of a match, this one. I don't know, I'm expecting this to be the game of the round, but I have tipped the Dragons for this one by quite a high margin. I've tipped the Dragons by 14, so 13 plus. The Knights have a massive, massive chance of winning this one. I just think the Dragons will turn around from their loss last week in such a big lead. Being a home game for them, they're technically not at home because it's being played in Mudgee. But I think the Dragons will win this. As for the outs, there is none saying. As for the ins, though, you've got Mason Lino and Jamie Buhrer for the Knights. The Knights have been really good lately, and I'm excited to see what they can come up with in this match, but I think it'll be a high scorer and the Dragons come away with a win here. And the final game of the round, which if you follow this channel, last year this won me $200. The Sharks up against the Sea Eagles. I put an 8-leg multi on $2 and I got a payout of about $250 or something like that. Don't think that'll be the case this one. Now, the interesting thing to note about this game is the Sea Eagles have won 9 of their last 10 against Cronulla. I'm going to tip Cronulla here. It's a massive, massive upset, in my opinion. Sea Eagles should be favourites because of this record. I think the Sea Eagles have too many players that are out at the moment, Cherry Evans and things like that. Now, Andrew Fafita is also playing his 200th game here at Shark Park, which is now PointsBet Stadium, but I'm not calling it that. I'm calling it Shark Park. I think it'll be an interesting game. I'm going to go the Sharks by 2. I don't think it'll be a blowout win for them. And as I said, Andrew Fafita's 200th game, he is in doubt to play, which is a shame if he doesn't play. I'll talk about it in a minute, but I think Bronson Cherry will have a really good match this one. Moses Sully is out for this match. As for the ins, you have Dylan Walker, who is named on the bench, I believe, unless he's in the starting. So I know he is number 3 against Bronson Cherry after being cleared of those court charges. George Tafua is also in for the side, and Siona Katoa is in for the Sharks. I think the Sharks will win this. Sharks by 2. And if you watched last week's video, I now have a new segment. If you like a punt like me, it's up to you whether you want to get on board these. I'm going to go for some roughies this week in regards to my try scorers. I'm going to go for Bronson Cherry. I think he's going to have a cracker of a match. I'm going to even say he could get a double in a low-scoring game between the Sharks and Manly. So I'm going to go for Bronson Cherry anytime try scorer. I think Kieran Foran will score for the Dogs, and he's at $5 at the moment. He had a really good game last week. I think he can back it up against the Titans. I just don't see the Bulldogs coming away with a win here. Kieran Foran could score a try. I backed him a couple weeks ago. He's playing good footy. I'm going to go Tim Laffey against the St. George Illawarra, or for the St. George Illawarra Dragons. If not, I don't know if I'll pick him again. And last but not least, for my try scorers, I'm going to pick Cody Nikorima from the Warriors. I think at Penrith he will get his debut try for the Warriors. And my multi for the week is the Storm to beat the Tigers, Penrith to beat the Warriors, Parramatta to beat the Cowboys, the Dragons to beat the Knights, and the Sharks to beat Manly. And this multi is paying $11.60. So if you want to put a couple bucks on and see if you win, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next week. I hope the round is full of exciting football, and I won't be at any games this weekend, so there'll be no vlogs, unfortunately. I'll see you guys in my next video.